All right, folks, you're on record now. So welcome to the Wood Valley Collaborative Forest Enhancement Project kickoff. Like I said, we've been working together many years with all of you. We finally successfully secured funding, and so we're excited to be kicking off together. The key objectives of this meeting are really, we're going to talk high level. We're not going to get into a lot of details. For those of you that have been with us since the beginning, you know a lot of the details already. If you are new to the table, that's okay. We'll get you caught up. But this is really focused on helping walk you down through how we all got here together to come up with this idea to collaborate, which a lot of you are already doing in a lot of different forums in the Wood River Valley. We'll explain how we interact with the other partnerships and how we're different and how we can work together. The biggest thing is to gather some insight from all of you. We're gonna take the time to do a round robin of introductions, get to know a little bit about each of you and what your expectations are for this project. And then we're going to establish a really, like I said, high level path forward. We're going to be working together for the next 2 to 3 years to implement this project. And so I want to give you a really good theme of how we work together and develop stakeholder driven projects, how we're going to use sound data as our foundation and develop planning tools together, how we can do impactful work on the ground, and then how we can build partnerships that can last well beyond the term of this grant that we were awarded. Our general agenda, which you all should have received, I can hold you up here. I've got the agenda in front of me. You should all have that. And if you don't, you can raise your hand and I can actually put that in the chat function for you to look at. We're going to focus on our team intro, which we're doing right now. Then we're going to take, like I said, a good chunk of time to do stakeholder introductions. Then we'll do a brief overview of the project from our project team. And then have plenty of time for Q&A and wrap up in an hour and a half. And so you will, if you know me very well, you know that I do not like meetings, but I spend all day, every day in meetings. So I try to make them very efficient and effective for people. So we're not going to run long. We're going to make the best of your time and make sure that we give you the information you need and give you a chance to give us feedback as well. So that's what our agenda looks like. Here's our project team that I'd like to introduce, and in the round robin, I'll let you see all of their faces, but I'll just introduce how we all work together. Tim McGuire, you can raise your hand. Tim is with Ecosystem Sciences Foundation, and we have some of his team as well on the call. I believe we have Zach Hill on the call and Connor Jackson on the call from Ecosystem Sciences Foundation. They are the fiscal agent. They are doing the GIS and helping us with all the planning. And so they are a key partner in all that we do. Tim and I are the ones that originally started talking with Bryce way back when. And so we're excited to be engaged in leading this project. Tim also serves on the Idaho Lands and Resource Coordinating Council, which helps guide Idaho Department of Lands on their state and private forestry programs. So we really are a resource for you. So that's our Ecosystem Sciences Foundation team. My name's Lance Davison. I am with the Keystone Concept, and I partner a lot with Ecosystem Sciences Foundation. On this project, I am managing the project, providing the stakeholder engagement and facilitation, and gonna help you with all the planning tools all the way through the process. So really, Tim and I are your partners all together on this project. Idaho Department of Lands is the funder, along with using U.S. Forest Service funding for this project. So the money is flowing through Idaho Department of Lands. We work closely with Michael Bodwin, who is on the call. He's the State Urban and Community Forestry Program Manager, and also Gary Bates, who is the Community Forestry Specialist in your region. So both of those two gentlemen are on the call as well. And like I said, I'll let them introduce themselves a little bit more as we go through the round robin of introductions. And then the key players who we'll be working with on this whole project team are with Blaine County, City of Ketchum, City of Sun Valley, and the South Valley cities of Haley and Bellevue. So I'll walk through more of how this all comes together, but I just wanted to give you a snapshot of what this project team looks like. And now I would like to do stakeholder introductions. So think a little bit about this before I do our Brady Bunch on the screen. But what I'd like to ask each of you is to introduce yourself, your title and the organization you're with, and then just a little tidbit about yourself that we may or may not know. And then I'd like to know how you heard about the project. Like I said, there are a number of new faces, which is exciting to me. But you may know a lot or not a lot about the project. Let us know. Looks like Josh Johnson is bouncing in and out. He's back. And then also, why are you here? What outcomes would you like to see out of this project? And what does success look like when we complete this project? And so again, some of you may not know enough about the project to give us really solid answers to that, but do the best you can. I'm intentionally asking those questions at the beginning here to kind of kick us off. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner where I'm managing to raise my hand this whole time. So Lance, you don't have to have your hand up. And let's jump on into it. So I will start. Harry Griffith, cool. Still a few more people coming in. I will start with Gary Bates. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself, Gary, and show us your face? Everybody turn on your screens if you can and join us in this meeting room.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Bates. I spell my name a little bit weird, but that's not my fault. I provide community forestry outreach for all of southern Idaho. I contract with the Idaho Department of Lands. I've done that for 24 years. We offer services such as tree inventory in communities, urban forestry management plans, ordinance development or revitalization or whatever. We do the Tree City USA program in the state, but basically my job is to help cities with their tree programs. This project is a little strange because it seems more like a WUI project, although I know that we're identifying it as a UCF project. So I'm interested to see kind of how all that ties in.
Thanks, Gary. How about
Sure.
a tidbit about yourself?
A little bit about myself. I like trees. I'm a certified arborist. I'm a certified nurseryman. I do plant diagnostician. I am a tree risk assessment qualified person. I do a lot of tree inventories to place a value on trees. And I do this basically all for cities. I mean, I don't do any private consulting. Maybe I will after I retire, but I don't know when that's going to be. I really like my job. Like I said, I've been doing it for 24 years. Before that, my wife and I owned and operated a retail garden center here in Idaho Falls. I did landscaping. We were a full service FTD florist. And we even operated a video business back in the day when that was popular, because nobody plants petunias in Idaho Falls in December and January. So anyway, that's kind of my background. We started with our garden center when we were 20 years old and made that work for 20 years. But I like this job a lot better.
Great. Thank you very much, Gary. And
Yeah.
Yes, Gary, I think, is our capital tree nerd in all of Idaho. So it's great to have Gary on board. If you need to know something about your trees, Gary knows it. Thank you very much, Gary.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead, Anjani, since you don't have a ton of time, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Lance. I'm not used to having two screens up. I'm at my office desk, so not quite sure how to face the group, but I'm Anjani McCleary. I'm Blaine County Commissioner, and I'll maybe, Lance, since we don't have a lot of time, I'd really like to hear from others. I'm pleased that Blaine County will be a partner in this project. We helped with the tree inventory, and certainly one of the things that I want to see out of the project and success is that all of the stakeholders continue to be engaged and participating. So, and I've done work in the past on fire mitigation and restoration, so some background there.
And look at that, I don't know how to run my own computer. Thank you very much, Anjani. And yeah, we'll definitely keep you in the loop. And Anjani's been a huge supporter from the beginning, helping us wrangle with this project, come up with the ideas and the collaboration, get to know the partners. And so thank you very much for that. Thanks for your support with the commission of funding the beginning of this project. A lot of the reason that we were awarded this project is because Sun Valley, Ketchum, and Blaine County put funding in to start the GIS work. So thank you very much, Anjani, and I guarantee you that this will be highly stakeholder driven. So you'll be happy at the end of that. It will never end, actually. We'll just keep working together. So let's go to Bryce in Sun Valley. And Bryce, I want you to say your last name because I always butcher it. Help me make sure I get it right.
It's Ternay.
Ternay, okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Hi everyone, I'm Bryce Ternay. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Sun Valley. The goals I'd like to see come out of this, I mean, I originally met Tim over 3 years ago at a conference in Boise and saw his presentation on what he and Keystone had done for, I think, some Ada County areas, and just was amazed by the level of detail that they were able to provide and its applicability to what could be seen here in Blaine County, specifically in the Wood River Valley. So I was just really impressed with what they had done. It was very professional and very well presented, and started the conversation with them because my whole idea was to originally get involved with them to do some sort of tree survey for the city of Sun Valley, ultimately leading to some sort of urban forest management program, ultimately leading towards being able to provide specific scientifically sound recommendations regarding trees, supporting certain species or limiting certain species to decision makers in the future, and maybe even having those solidified in code requirements. So that's how I got involved in this, and I'm really glad to see how it's taken off, and want to assure everyone on this call that Lance and Tim are here for us, and I'm happy that they are.
Thanks, awesome. Thank you very much, Bryce. And yeah, so you'll see in our presentation, the idea started. I was trying to look back, Bryce, to see when that Idaho Association of Cities, or I always butcher how that works, when that meeting was, but I think it was like maybe in 2018 even. It's been a while since we've been talking.
Yeah, I do think it was probably 2018. Yeah.
It was the summer of 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tim pinch hitted for me on a presentation, and it was off from there. But I think the exciting thing to us about this is, like Bryce mentioned, we've done this work starting in the Treasure Valley, expanding to southeastern Idaho, northern Idaho, and this is the first time it's driven by community development folks. And so that is exciting to us, that we can be working with our traditional tree people, but also with the people that are planning the future of your cities. And so that's why I think what we build here together will be uniquely different, because I think we have a much more diverse and invested group of stakeholders. So thanks, Bryce, for making that happen. And again, thanks for your support and funding to get it all started. So thank you, Bryce.
Thank you.
Do people want to hear who I am and what I do and why I do it? Yes or no? I think I know most of you. So Danny knows me.
I'll be honest, I'd rather hear the stakeholders talk. I hear you talking every day.
I agree. So Tim, but now it's your turn. Tell them who you are.
All right, well, yes, I'm Tim McGuire with Ecosystem Sciences Foundation. I have met many of you guys over the time of working here in Idaho and in the Wood River Valley. We have done the GIS assessment. We still have Haley and Bellevue to add to that we'll do here in the next couple months. Lance will talk about that in a minute. And I really, so Ecosystem Sciences Foundation, we do a lot of work throughout the state. We've worked in the valley quite a bit on not only agricultural practices, but also the Big Wood River. We spent a lot of time working on that. We were part of the Cardno group that created the atlas for the Big Wood River. So we've got some experience in the Big Wood River, but the greatest thing about the Wood River Valley is the stakeholder interaction, all of you and your investment to these type of projects. And we really appreciate it. And I just want to say two things. Bryce, thank you for getting this started. It's been very enjoyable to work on. We look forward to, we're so happy we're finally at this position. And I would also like to point out Gary. Many of you might not know this, but Gary also has Idaho Lands Resource Coordinating Council with me, and he spoke up eloquently promoting this grant when it went through the round of deliberations between the council. So again, we wouldn't be here without Gary either. That's about it for me. I look forward to working with you guys as we move through this. I'm excited to get going.
I'm on mute again. Thank you, Tim. Wendelin Holland.
Hi.
Hello.
I run a consultancy based in Ketchum. I'm an expert in clean energy items, especially commercialization of new technologies. My work is sort of at the nexus of technology, policy, and finance. I also do work in nuclear waste and in tribal relations. I guess I'm here because I'm working on an Idaho rural broadband project, and I'm interested in how the connectivity demands for this particular project may have relevance for this project I'm working on called Imagine Idaho, which is designed to bring connectivity to our rural spaces here in the state. And I'm also a local historian. So thank you for having me, and I yield my time.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Wendelin. Lexi, you're up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lexi Pregastis. I am the executive director for the Sun Valley Institute for Resilience. I learned about this project last week, so I am brand new to this. So I don't even know if I have expectations or successes yet. Our organization works to build community resilience, and our current focus is within kind of the food, farm and agricultural space. And within agriculture, obviously, there's 3 products: food, fiber, and forestry. So this is part of our interest and excitement about this, and to understand, you know, what ways we can help and collaborate. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Lexi, and thanks for joining. Yeah, Danny Southard with National Forest Foundation and I met with Lexi and some of her staff last week. And yeah, there's plenty of opportunities, I think, for us to bridge and work together. And yeah, so I'm excited to have you guys engaged. Thanks, Lexi. Michael Bodwin from Idaho Department of Lands.
Hi there. So I'm Michael Bodwin. I'm the Urban and Community Forestry Program Manager with IDL. Our program really assists to help municipalities protect and preserve their urban canopy, to improve ecosystem services like water quality and human health. We also, with the help of Gary and our North Idaho CFA Garth, help communities develop ordinances that protect urban trees, develop management plans, and help develop their professional staff to get those ISA certs like the arborist or the track qualified. I am a track qualified and a certified arborist. I think something interesting about myself would be my cover image for Zoom are San Marcos horses. And for my graduate work, I studied the urban history of Venice and urban forestry in Venice. I do have a lot of background in WUI mitigation and fire suppression. So that's part of the reason why I got into this project. Last year, with the help of Tim and Lance, I helped write the grant that secured this funding through the Landscape Scale Restoration Program. It came down to the wire, but it got funded. So I'm really happy about that. So that's kind of how I got into this project.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. And yeah, we partner with Michael on a lot of stuff, and he's a great resource out of Coeur d'Alene. Every once in a while we get him to sneak down to Boise and help us out as well. But yeah, Michael and Tim they're helping us take notes on all this good stuff so we can make sure to learn about what your expectations are and who you are and keep in contact with you. So thanks a lot, Michael. Appreciate it. And
I'd like to
yeah,
jump
Tim.
in real quick and just say, Michael, his first order of business when he got the job was to help us write this grant. So
Yeah.
it's like he's batting 1,000 right now.
Yes, exactly. I remember. And now with all of COVID and stuff, it was like almost 2 grant cycles ago. But yeah, Michael and Tim and I were at the 11th hour putting this thing together. So Michael, thanks a lot for that. And it's a lot of work to get here. I think both Danny and Anjani, when we started this discussion, we're like, yeah, we've always wanted to do that grant program, but we couldn't figure it out. So that's why we have the team to get here and to keep working on. So now I'm kicking over to you, Danny, who I've mentioned your name several times, but you haven't got a chance to introduce yourself. So Danny Southard.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Yeah, Danny Southard. I'm with the National Forest Foundation. I'm the Northern Rockies program manager. And I basically oversee NFF's work both on a programmatic front, working closely with communities and the U.S. Forest Service to get work done on the ground, as well as supporting collaborative efforts in Idaho and Montana. I know many of you, most of you, through work with the 5B Restoration Coalition, which NFF facilitates. And through that effort, there's been a group of folks working on the Bald Mountain Stewardship Project, which includes U.S. Forest Service, BLM, some Fish and Game, and even some state endowment lands that we're looking at that basically would be an adjacent project to much of this work that Lance and Tim and the cities and county are talking about here. So kind of looking at it from an all lands approach, what's possible. And yeah, I think what's exciting for me is to finally see this grant program land for Blaine County. As Lance mentioned, back, 2015, we were talking about this grant program and looking at it and seeing, how we could bring it to fruition to the needs and some of the issues we'd like to address in Blaine County. So really happy to see these guys on board. They bring a wealth of expertise, and yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So
Thank you very much, Danny. And to add on to that, it's not something that I lay out in our presentation, but the unique partnership, we're working a lot with both Danny at National Forest Foundation and Zach Poff at the Forest Service. They're really focused, of course, the Forest Service on the Forest Service lands, and NFF is as well. So they're looking at a lot of federal land. What we're looking at with our work is the state and private land. And so like Danny said, between all of us, we're looking at all lands. There's actually a large funding source that Danny's group was going after this past year that they discovered towards the end of the process that the funding actually can't go on federal land. So that's one that's landing in our lap that I think this group could go after that funding source for the private land and municipal lands next year. So the partnership, we love working together with Danny and these folks. And so I think there'll be a lot of collaborative efforts and opportunities to build from there. So thank you very much, Danny. You're next, right next to Danny.
Yeah. I'm Jörg Stauffacher. I'm the city arborist for the city of Ketchum, also municipal arborist, and kind of been part of the group since the beginning. And it's kind of cool to see that we're finally going forward again.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Jörg. And you're Brittany's with you guys, right?
Yeah, I tried to get in touch with her. I don't know if she's on the call or not.
Yep, we got her. Yep, she's here. So cool. I'll get to you in a minute, Brittany. Stacy McLaughlin.
Hi, everybody. Stacy McLaughlin. Let's see. My role on this, I'm actually the project manager with Blaine County for a fire mitigation grant from Idaho Department of Lands for Blaine County. And that is actually how I met Tim and Lance, who have been great supporters of the project and given me a lot of insight. From that, that's just grown. The relationship has grown, and getting involved with Danny and other folks, just with collaboration and understanding, and how does the fire side work with everything else. Being a responder for my local fire department, working with all of the Blaine County fire chiefs is kind of what brought me to where I am today, which is super exciting. And my hope for all of this is just more collaboration, hopefully more projects to be involved in and help out with at whatever level that is that I can help and support. I have a huge passion for all of this, so that's why I'm here. Just very, very excited, actually. This is something to look forward to outside of the other things that I do for work. So I'm just happy to be here and happy to see this all happening. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Stacy. And I still have on my calendar the fire chiefs meeting every month. So one of these days we'll get to that. So thanks for keeping us in the loop there. It's a super important group that we want to engage with more. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Josh Johnson.
Thanks, Lance. My name is Josh Johnson. I work with the Idaho Conservation League based out of our office in Ketchum. We've been involved with the 5BRC for a long time now, and also pretty involved on this Baldy Stewardship Project. So just looking to stay in the loop on this one and see how we can engage and help out.
Great. Thank you very much, Josh. Zach Hill. Zach might be just listening in. Zach is a partner of Tim and Ecosystems. There's Zach.
Hey, Lance, sorry, I was having trouble with my mute. Yeah, Zach Hill, Ecosystem Sciences Foundation, and I work closely with Tim and with Connor to help push these projects forward. So right now, today, I'm just catching up and listening in to all the good work that Lance and Tim have done heretofore.
Great. Thank you very much, Zach. And if you've ever seen the graphic work that we've done, Zach is the brains behind that. And he also was highly involved in that Cardno work as well that will help build into this, which is a really cool atlas that they put together. So thank you very much, Zach. Maya Lewis.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maya Lewis. I work with Bryce over at the City of Sun Valley. I'm the assistant planner. I've worked for the city for a little bit over a year now. So Bryce has been involved in the project for over about 3 years. So I've been here for a year and been involved since I started. I've sat in on a few meetings representing the city for the project. And so I would just echo what Bryce has said in his response to the goals, and I'll be assisting him with any code amendments or projects moving forward that would come forth from the recommendations of the tree inventory and the urban growth management study. So look forward to seeing this presentation and continuing my involvement. Sorry, I don't have my camera on, but I'm calling through my phone.
No worries. I saw the 253 number in there and I wasn't sure. So, so are you from
I still have my
Pierce County?
Yeah, I grew up just south of Seattle, near Puyallup, Washington, and moved here after I graduated from Western up in Bellingham.
Oh, right on. A Viking.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Maya, and good to hear your voice. I had forgotten your name, but I'm a face person, so now I've attached it all up. So we've got Maya and Bryce from Sun Valley. Thanks. Ryan Santo with Wood River Land Trust. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, everyone. My name is Ryan Santo with the Wood River Land Trust. I'm a restoration specialist. Been with the Land Trust about 3 years now, and we're interested in this project. We own a lot of property in the urban interface in Haley, with our Colorado Gulch Preserve and Draper Preserve and Haley Greenway down there. So we're interested to see how we could be a part of this effort.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. And I think, are you the one that toured a WUI project with Stacy and Tim and I?
That's right. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. So it's good to see you guys again.
Perfect. Great to have you on board. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
And Zach Poff.
There we go, unmuted. So hi, Zach Poff. I work for the Ketchum Ranger District for the U.S. Forest Service, and have been in the discussions here with this project for, I guess over a year now. And kind of as it was mentioned before, this project marries up really well with a couple of ongoing projects that we have interagency between the Forest Service and BLM that are primarily dealing with the viewshed of Ketchum, Sun Valley, and even down towards Haley a little bit. So just always want to stay in the loop and see how we can help and how we can collaborate on these. It's been great so far working with Lance and Tim and Danny and everybody, and hope to continue that.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Zach. And yeah, these roots run deep. Zach helped us get an Arbor Day grant to do some work in Boise National Forest. So you'll always be on my team, Zach. I appreciate it. Chris Corwin.
Hello. Sorry, I don't have a video camera. I'm one of those people that has yet to buy a web camera, even though they're like 20 bucks. And I do like 3 Zoom calls a day. Anyways, so I am Blaine County's Disaster Services Coordinator. My job is to mitigate, prevent, respond to, and recover from disasters for Blaine County. So certainly the information that will be presented in the study will be very helpful in our mitigation efforts and even probably in response efforts. So certainly a lot of interest in that aspect.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris. And Chris, I know you and I have our radar on that BRIC grant. So help me keep that on my radar for our planning purposes coming up. Thanks for looping us into that one.
Sure.
Thank you, Chris. Connor Jackson.
Hey, yeah, my name is Connor. I work with Idaho Ecosystem Sciences Foundation. I'm just kind of here to help do project work related to this. I'll be taking notes, and yeah, not sure if there's much more. So, pass the time.
Perfect. Thank you, Connor. And yeah,
I'll add in that Connor's very, he does our GIS work. He has a lot of work to do on this project. He'll be doing more than taking just notes.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was going to say. These young, smart folks, they sell themselves short. Connor's a huge part of the team. So thanks, Connor. Harry Griffith, I'm going to catch you because you popped up to a different spot now that we can see your face. Go for it, Harry.
Roger. So I'm the executive director of Sun Valley Economic Development. I've been engaged in some of the precursor projects, the 5B Restoration Coalition, Baldy Forest Health, for a while. My interests are the economic implications of everything that we're doing in terms of recreational opportunities or business opportunities. We also got engaged more recently in some of the considerations of a FEMA grant opportunities. So I'm always interested in bringing grant money into the community. And looking forward, my engagement is going to primarily be around anything with numbers. So I'm your numbers person for everything that we do.
I love it, Harry. And I'm not a numbers guy, so I need you on the team for sure. So thank you very much. Let's see, Bill Josie. Did we get you, Bill? All right, so I will, oh, Gary Bates had to run for a doctor's appointment. So Bill and Chris Josie own a tree care company in Haley, and they're very active in regional arboriculture chapter, and I think they'll be a big partner in this project as well as a reputable tree care company. One thing to build off of what Harry mentioned, and then also looking at Bill and Chris here, is I don't think there's a gentleman that was really interested in urban wood utilization and just wood utilization in general. It's something we've talked a lot about, the wood coming off of Bald Mountain with a lot of the fire restoration work. I'm helping stand up a statewide urban wood network for Idaho and also for the state of Colorado. And so keep that on your radar, that we want to find better ways to use wood material that's coming out of the Wood River Valley, whether it's your urban trees or the trees coming off the wildland urban interface, to develop some kind of economic engine and wood utilization opportunity. So we're tapped into some private funders that might be able to help with that, looking at federal grants, a lot of stuff. So that's one of urban and wooey wood is one of the things on our radar. So Bill's on mute. Kaz, Thea.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kaz, and I am I'm on city council for the city of Haley. I have only been a little bit in touch with what's going on with this program. We considered helping to fund the effort, I don't know, was that a year ago? And it didn't exactly work. I want to stay connected and informed and be part of the team and bring the interest level up in my own council personally. I have a science background. I was with the Fish and Wildlife Service for many years and a consultant locally. And I actually worked with Danny. I was a contract employee for a year with the National Forest Foundation, working on the Baldy project and trying to engage the community in helping. And then COVID happened and that all went south for me. But anyway, I'd like to start, staying in touch on a regular basis with what's going on in this project and helping to inform my city and stay involved and engaged. I do believe strongly in science background and how that can inform our decisions. And I think it's really, really important that the city of Haley stay engaged in this project. So that's why I'm here.
Great. Thank you very much, Kaz, and thanks for joining us. That's one thing I talked with Linda Reese, who was the most active from Haley in the original discussions of things. So she'll still be active, but we really do need somebody from city staff to be more active. So if you can help us find out who that is, that would be awesome, because we've worked really hard and haven't succeeded. So you and I can talk offline about that, but it's huge, critical to have you on this call. So thank you.
Well, I'm happy to do that. And we should definitely get on a call at some point to talk about that. Thanks. And I'm glad I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaz. Let's see. Brittany Skelton in Ketchum.
Hi, Brittany over in Ketchum Planning Department. I was, I think a little bit involved with the initial project involving Sun Valley and the county. And so I'm just glad to see that this is moving forward with the larger project for our valley, and I'm excited to see what the results are. And hi, Jörg. I saw your call. Sorry about that earlier. Did I get a chance to chat?
Cool. Thank you, Brittany. And I'll remember when we had coffee, must have been pre-COVID if we had coffee. You had talked about some opportunities with some climate type stuff and with some of the things you were learning from other, like a mountain communities forum. So keep those at the front of your thought process to help make sure we focus on that moving forward. So thanks a lot, Brittany. And Erica Phillips.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do the video. Hi there, I'm Erica Phillips. I work for the Nature Conservancy. I'm watershed manager here for the Wood River Valley. I am somewhat familiar with this, having been part of the 5B Restoration Coalition for a long time, and I heard the presentation you guys did probably a year ago on it. But the Nature Conservancy is just starting to get involved in this. So we're very interested though, because it ties in with some of the different initiatives that we have going on around the state. The Resilient Forests Initiative, that's part of our strategic plan, climate change, and healthy soil, clean water initiative that we have. So we're really interested in that connection between the resilient forests and watersheds and downstream water supply and the downstream ecosystems. So we also have some capacity for communications and outreach with our organization, and really just tying in the messaging with the community and the broader statewide community. So I think those will be some areas that we might be able to help out with some of this. And then I've worked with a lot of different people that are on this call, having been with the Forest Service and the Land Trust and that kind of stuff. So that's my one thing about myself, but I'm excited to bring the Nature Conservancy into this. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Erica. We work a lot with Bass and Tracy out of your Boise office, and I love all that you said. I think there will be a ton of opportunity there, and leveraging those other resources as well, like you said, to get the word out and everything. You guys have a great team, so
great.
It's great to have you on this team. Thanks a lot.
I think I think Erica and I started working together like a decade ago when you were with Wood River Land Trust, and Erica probably has more experience working with every person in ecosystem sciences, more so the only other person that might have more experience is Lance. Erica has worked with everybody in our office at one point or another in her career.
And I have nothing but great stuff to say about all of them.
Thank you, Erica.
Awesome. I love it. Great
It's
to meet
nice
you,
to
Erica.
see you again.
So we have Kurt Nelson. I think, Kurt, you might be our final word from the group.
Mute.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, Kurt Nelson, the district ranger here in Ketchum. I won't say how many decades I've been here, but it's been a few. The entire area around, at least the Ketchum Sun Valley area, is on the Ketchum district, and so we have been involved with wildland urban interface for decades. And I think the 2007 Castle Rock fire really put fire in the wildland urban interface in everybody's mind. We had it right down to the city of Ketchum, into Baldy, along the edges, and we were pretty darn successful in working with the community to get that under control before it moved through the town. And then in 2013, we had another large fire out of the west that pretty much what didn't burn on the west side of the Ketchum district burned in the second fire. And we ended up having fire all the way down into and near homes along the Wood River drainage itself in the watershed. So I think this is all kind of lines up in terms of how do we interact as a federal agency and coordinate with local communities in the wildland urban interface, and that's what this project does. I think Danny and Zach covered it well with the Bald Mountain stewardship and a lot of the projects that we're involved with, trying to look at a landscape level approach to how can we best improve forest health and deal with the fuels mitigation on federal lands. And so that's where we are. So I'm interested in seeing how this project interfaces. It's kind of like a big landscape puzzle. And as we put private lands and publicly owned lands together, maybe we can come up with a really nice end result.
Great, thank you very much, Kurt. All right, so we went through 23 attendees. If I missed anybody, holler or raise your hand. I think we're good. So that took a little longer than expected, but to be honest, I think that's the most important part of this call for us to all, like you said, a lot of you know each other already. We're starting to put those puzzle pieces together, like Kurt said. And so we've got about 36 minutes left here. I'm going to walk you through a project presentation, and we'll start diving into, like I said, pretty high level details, but start whetting our appetite for what we can do working together. So feel free to, as we go through this presentation, to ask questions as we go. I'm probably not going to be looking at the chat, so Michael or Tim, if you could let me know if there's something in there. I will walk through this presentation, Tim and I. So a lot of you have seen this screen before, and this was helping people understand all the moving pieces of what we were putting together with the plan. So if you can see my cursor here, when we were looking at getting this funding source, which is through the U.S. Forest Service and Idaho Department of Lands, we were applying for what's called the Landscape Scale Restoration Project funding. And in order to do that, we were advised to find a way to get communities to invest in this resource ahead of time so we could show to the funder that the communities were invested. So that's where this forest enhancement GIS assessment was completed for the cities of Sun Valley, Ketchum, and Blaine County. Not all of Blaine County, but key areas that we identified. And so we have already completed that. And that is available for us to use to inform this project. The other key pieces that we're going to add to that now are Haley and Bellevue. And so Kaz, when you and I talk, I also want to pick your brain and find at least one person from Bellevue who can engage in this, because again, I understand they're a small community, but we're offering a lot of resources, and we are going to do some GIS work there. So I want them to see that value so that they can be part of this process moving forward. And so when all that came together, now we have $240,000 that has come into the Valley. And the way that we're splitting that up is about $140,000 to go to planning. Meetings like this, coming up with the planning documents that, like Bryce said, can get codified into your planning and development codes, and then also some funding for on the ground actions. So that's just in general at a high level how it's broken up. And this tells that story that we've been talking about. So the idea came about with Tim in that presentation back in 2018. Do we have a chat? Oh, Kaz, yes, thank you very much, Kaz. So the opportunity came out, Bryce and Tim leading the charge. Sun Valley really got their heads in the game and helped us figure out how to bring together other partners. Now we have the tools in place for Sun Valley, Ketchum, and Blaine County. And now we can get into using this funding to make a difference. So I think somebody mentioned this, but in the state of Idaho, all these areas that you see here already have urban tree canopy assessments in Southeast Idaho. And then this is one of the holes that we identified thanks to Bryce helping engage us in it. So you're going to have resources similar to all these places. And what's exciting to me is I would encourage any of you that haven't learned about the Treasure Valley Canopy Network to go. And Tim, would you mind putting that the website in the chat, tvcanopy.net? That can help you start dreaming about what might grow out of this effort in the Wood River Valley. It's going to be very different because the Wood River Valley is different than the Treasure Valley. But the whole idea of an effective partnership that is now 100% privately funded and starting to bring in a lot of resources to the community, I think that's the potential if we can really find ways to work together here. Tim, you direct message me the TV Canopy, you can send it to everybody. Thank you very much. So that's how everything's kind of coming together. So here's a picture of, I want you guys to start thinking about what you're already doing that we can help lend resources and information to, and how the partnerships can work together. So a lot of what we talked about, I heard hazard mitigation when we were doing the introductions. So we've got IDL in this meeting, Forest Service. We don't have BLM. It'd be good to have them engaged. We have Chris with emergency management. I think there might be some potential. I recall when we had last met with you guys, you had hired the new Ketchum fire chief, who I think has a ton of WUI background from, I can't remember if it was Colorado. So I think people like that will really find value in getting engaged in this. Community development, I'm really glad that we have Sun Valley Economic Development here to help focus on that, and all the community development directors as well. Also, to let you know, for those of you that haven't worked with me over the last 6 months, my house is under construction, so you might hear some construction people in the background. Forest health is a big priority of ours. So like we said, 5BRC, Sun Valley Institute for Resilience, the Land Trust, a lot of you are already really focused on a lot in Bald Mountain. We can help expand that into the community, whether it's removing trees for forest health issues, treating trees, planting more trees. There's lots of players involved in that piece. And then recreation is also another big part. Danny, I think you can definitely help us get the right Sun Valley person or people engaged in this. And we can, I think, have a really good collective strategy together to find a way to work together to build more resilient communities in the Wood River Valley. Here's a look at the general, how the project will go. So the GIS data is really what the foundation of this is. So we already have a big part of that built, thanks to our partners in Sun Valley, Ketchum, and Blaine County. We need to add in the South Valley into that. And then the next piece will be probably, I think I go into a little more detail at the end of this presentation about exactly when that happens. But the next piece is we'll be meeting with you all to both get together as a full stakeholder group and focus on some planning tools, but we'll also focus in on each of your individual communities as well. And then finally, at years 2 and 3, we will be doing some on the ground management activities, doing some targeted outreach, whether that's presentations to city and county associations, planning associations, maybe workshops in your communities. And then, like I said, all the work that we do together with Ecosystem Sciences is focused on having that long-term platform for future collaborative work. So it was really nice to hear Anjani say that in the beginning of our meeting, that the collaboration was important. So we guarantee that that'll be a big part of what comes out at the end of this project. And I'll turn it over to Tim. Tim's going to dive in a little deeper into the GIS stuff, since we already have some tools. And Tim, you let me know as you want to advance through the slides.
All right, there we go. So these three images here show different ways of looking at the data that's been supplied to the group. So when we talk about high resolution data, we're talking about, let's think about land cover data. Freely available land cover data is generally 10 meter square pixels or 30 meter square pixels. That's not really good for municipal planning level data. So we created this high resolution data, which is about a meter per pixel. So every pixel of the image represents a meter square on the ground. So that's high resolution data. And in a city, you're going to need that, because freely available data, your whole city is red. It's just a city. But now we've broken that up, and you can actually see the river flowing through it, and the streets and the trees, so that you have a more refined view of your city, and then you can make decisions based on that high resolution data. This is the foundation for the project. We'll use this project to help this data to help strategize and prioritize where work will be done. And it can help with strategies for all these things you see on the right: hazard mitigation, economic development, environmental quality, and wildlife and recreation. Okay, Lance, move ahead. Next slide. So this is this data for Sun Valley, Ketchum, and portions of Blaine County, north of Haley and the East Fork area, come with this land cover class. These land cover classes are mapped in each area. We then use that data to create community tree canopy. So that's taking this land cover data and then looking at that data and identifying places where you can plant trees, whether that's broken down into breaking up a parking lot, or if it's just vegetation that doesn't have any trees on it that has the infrastructure there to be able to plant a tree there. And then we also did potential tree planting sites where we actually did an analysis and laid out points where trees could be planted within these potential planting areas of the data. And then we document everything with metadata, and there's a report out there. So I'll just take you quickly, Lance, next slide. I'm going to need you to hit a couple buttons here because it's animated. So this is what this is some of the results of the project area. So you can see here, this map shows the 4 areas that have been mapped so far. There are the Sun Valley and Ketchum, and then the 2 areas I mentioned before, north of Haley and the East Fork. Blaine County decided where they wanted the portions of the area to be mapped that they had funding to support. And
Can I ask a question on this?
Yeah.
Harry here. On the previous slide, you talked about, areas where there could be additional planning. Are you identifying areas where the canopy is such that it's actually too much? In other words, it's consuming too much water by type of tree, or things can and should be removed. I mean, I'm a believer, very much having lived in Sun Valley for 10 years, that the forest that's been created and is perpetrated by ridiculous amounts of sprinkling, and I've actually seen the numbers. I did some work with Pat McMahon on this for the sewer district. I'm just wondering if that's part of what you're considering.
Yeah. So, so when we first, this is Harry, right?
Yes.
That's a great question. So when we actually started this project, and when Bryce came to me after I did that presentation at the Association of Idaho Cities, his impetus was because he knows that there's infrastructure areas in Sun Valley where, because there's been so much tree growth in the last 25 to 30 years, that parts of the street don't get sunlight, so it's iced at all times, and that they have infrastructure problems due to that. So yes, absolutely. One of the analysis that we did just from this data was looking at intersections and the amount of canopy at those intersections, because generally those intersections, if there's dense canopy there, we would want to remove that for safety. So that's kind of one of the ways that we've used the data. So to answer your question, yes, we are not using this data solely to look at expanding tree canopy within the project area, but we're also looking at places where we need to remove it for fire risk or infrastructure issues, such as streets not seeing the light of day and being icy all the time.
Thank you.
And to add to that, Tim and Harry, that's why, Harry, it's so important for us to have this foundational data, because when we sit down with our stakeholders to come up with these plans, we have good quality data to inform those, right? So Tim, when you ask that question and we're in a work session, Tim can say, yes, we're highlighting these, we'll go in and look at it. And then you can say, okay, as I develop my plan for the next 5 to 10 years, here's an area we need to treat, we need to treat, we need to treat. And it will be well mapped out, I think, for folks like Bryce to prioritize that in their work planning within the city. So great question. So Tim, go to the next slide, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And just to follow up, Harry, if you could supply that report you were talking about, I think it was, you mentioned it was about stormwater or the sewer system, because we also, in the Treasure Valley, we use this same data to do all sorts of stormwater modeling. We are working with the Ada County Highway District right now, using tree canopy data to identify how to reduce flows to a certain stormwater pond in a park here in Boise. So lots of opportunities, and I would love to see that report.
Yeah, just as background, it was basically a household by household, association by association snapshot for the Elkhorn Association. And we looked at it for 4 years worth of irrigation data.
That would be cool stuff to look at. Also, my brother owns a condo in Elkhorn, so I'd like to know if he's over irrigating. Okay. All right, Lance, hit one more. Okay. So this is of the area that we, yeah, back one. Back. There you go. Stay right there. This is the breakdown of the total area that we mapped, and that is those black polygons you see on the map to the right. 15% tree canopy. That's deciduous, 4% tree canopy coniferous. The big thing you see there is scrub shrub. Everybody, you guys are well aware that's a dominant vegetation type there in the valley. 14% irrigated vegetation. So just quickly and as a broad overview, that 14% and 3% that you see right on the left, those two green ones, those two are primarily your area, your potential planting area. So we could say that 17% of the project area, it'll be close to that, it'll be a little more than that because we actually look at parking lots as well, is plantable for vegetation. So you can increase your canopy through that 17% area. That's just a broad metric to think about as we look at this. We have these metrics broken out in the report. This is the full project area. In the report, you can find metrics for Ketchum, Sun Valley, and Blaine County. All right, next, Lance. So again, this UTC data is breaking this into tree canopy versus these other things that we look at in terms of, we have areas that are unsuitable vegetation, means that's probably a scrub shrub area that's on a slope that doesn't have irrigation to it. So that area, you're not going to plant a tree. Unsuitable impervious, that's all road. PPA impervious is potential planting area in an impervious. So that's probably, most likely, parking lots that we broke up into areas that could be, you could put trees into. And this is common throughout the US that they look at parking lots as areas to expand tree canopy, because if you have a parking lot, you generally assume that there's infrastructure of other things and that you could actually break up that parking lot and get irrigation to those areas. What else can I say about this? Unsuitable agriculture, we take agriculture out and we say we're not planting in agriculture. That is up to a local landowner if they want to sell that off. But when we look at it from looking straight down from the sky, if it's agriculture, we're saying we're not planting. And generally that is primarily a row crop situation. Pasture would be probably seen as a potential planting area. Does that make sense? Okay, so this last one is the potential planting area points. These are points that we located within, and there's a methodology. They can't be more than like 15 feet close to each other. I can't remember exactly what we used. They have to be 50 feet from an intersection and all sorts of other suitability analysis to determine where we can put them. But for the project area, we came up with a potential of 17,000, almost 18,000 potential points. And then they are stratified by, for air quality. So air quality would be, if we want to do an air quality, we're going to look at planting close to streets and parking lots. Water quality, we're going to look to planting in the floodplain. Wildlife habitat is areas close to dense canopy and close to water. We would want to expand canopy there for wildlife habitat. And then riparian restoration is planting within the riparian zone. So the difference between water quality and riparian, they're very close. Generally, water quality would be within the floodplain, which is largely bigger than the riparian area. Riparian area is directly adjacent to the stream. When we're talking about riparian, we're talking about bank protection primarily, and water quality benefits and fish habitat as well. So that's it. So we've got almost 18,000 planting points. We've got lots of data going into this. We will create the same type of data for Haley and Bellevue, and that will be done within the next 3 months.
Cool. Thank you very much, Tim. So that bridges over to the discussion about what the next steps are, and then we'll have a few minutes here to be able to answer questions. One quick question that we got in the chat while Tim was talking was, Wendell, you asked, please explain the role of Association of Idaho Cities. So the reason I mentioned that association is because that's the presentation that Tim provided where Bryce found out the opportunity to work together on this. I would imagine that might be a really good venue to present this work once it is completed. I think, Tim, doesn't Elaine Clegg serve on Association of Idaho Cities? So we work really closely with Elaine. She's on the Lands and Resource Coordinating Council. So Wendell, does that answer your question about the role of the Association of Idaho Cities?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you. So what we're going to focus on first is we're still wrapping up the details of the grant agreement with Idaho Department of Lands. So Tim's working on that right now. That should be done very soon. And then we will go into getting the GIS assessment work done for Haley and Bellevue. And so I'll be following up with you, Kaz, probably early next week to talk about who are the right people in Haley and Bellevue. I think we have a lot of what we need to still do that work, right, Tim?
Yeah. Yep.
But I just want to find those right people in Haley and Bellevue to get them engaged. And so that should be wrapped up around March. So once we have that, we're going to get this group back together again and lay you out more details about exactly how we'll start working together. Now we have, oh yeah, Tim.
So I think, and is Chris still on the call? I can't see everybody, but we need to supply that data to county GIS and then get it in Chris's hands so he can get it to the cities. I think that's where we're at that point.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so we'll, yeah, Chris.
Oh, I just telling you, I'm still here. So yeah.
Perfect. So that's the foundation. So by the end of March, we'll have that GIS foundation completed, and that will be a valuable tool to use to inform our stakeholder planning efforts. So like I'd mentioned earlier, we're estimating it'll take about a year to have meetings both with the larger group and then smaller work groups to set up those planning tools, the community forestry management plans. And then those we're hoping will be completed around spring of 2022. And that will help us pick and prioritize our on-the-ground treatments within the cities and the county, develop our outreach resources and facilitate those targeted workshops. And in there will be peppered some opportunities like the BRIC grant to hopefully get more funding to feed into this. And then for our partnerships to keep working together. So that I think wraps our presentation. And so I would like to give everybody a chance here. We got a good 10 minutes for questions or go back and look at parts of the presentation. But that's our very high level piece. So Kaz asked the question, do you have money for completing GIS in Haley and Bellevue? So Kaz, yes, we do. We have funding to do that. And so that's what we are doing with part of this grant. And because we had the other cities pony up and pay for their portions, we'll be able to focus more on the ground funding for those cities that were able to pay for the GIS pieces. But we do have funding in this grant to do the GIS platforms for Haley and Bellevue. Good question. And now it's all yours for questions, folks. I see Chris's yellow on my screen. Do you have a question, Chris? Maybe not. Maybe he's just yellow.
Nope.
Cool. Is Bryce still on the call? You have to jump off.
Bryce hopped off, but I'm on the call. It says Maya.
Okay. Maya, do you have any thoughts or questions from Sun Valley perspective?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? Wow. We answered all the questions. Does anybody have a person who's not on this call that you feel is critical to this planning effort? Can you describe some projects you completed in Boise? Oh, that's a good question, Kaz. If you guys are interested in that, I can show you our website there and we can spend a few minutes. I'll go ahead and do that. And then, so that we don't take time while we're all on the phone, if you guys see somebody that you think is critical to be engaged in this that's not, we do have a much larger stakeholder list. Of course, not everybody's here, but I'd say a turnout of 20 to 25 people for an initial kickoff is successful in my mind. But if there's somebody that's missing, we want to tap into them. So I'm going to jump in here. Again, if you have questions, throw them in the chat or holler. I'm going to get on TV Canopy. Okay. Where's my Zoom? Danny, do you have anything to share about opportunities from your perspective?
You know, not anything burning at this point. I would just say here, and I can turn back on my video. Sorry about that. I would just say, you know, the biggie for us right now, we've got a small group really doing some brainstorming on, there's a state land parcel that's out, for those of you that are familiar, out Clear Creek, just right across from the Sun Valley Animal Veterinary Clinic, and there's a boarding house there, so it's kind of adjacent across the highway from that. So the small group trying to figure out the state land parcel. It's an endowment parcel. So we're doing some work with IDL, the U.S. Forest Service, and BLM to try to understand how we can create more of a shared stewardship opportunity, working with the state and creating more of a harmonious approach to some of the treatments out there. So that's kind of the biggie right now. We'll be convening a 5B Restoration Coalition meeting probably sometime in March, it looks like. And, you know, other than that, just tracking alongside what you all are up to and what you're doing. And I would just say I'm really excited to see East Fork in the assessment, and, you know, just shout out to Blaine County for including that in there. I think there's been a lot of talk over the years about some of the challenges related with the East Fork. And I really think that that's probably a collaborative project area in the future that we all can be looking at, amongst others, many others.
Thanks, Danny. And so that's the other question that we had early on in the process, is people were like, wait a minute, there's 5BRC and then there's this, how do they, and Danny's been great because we see a vision for how either, well, for sure these groups are going to be working together for the next 3 years while we have this project funding, but who knows what this group becomes that's driving this project. So there's a lot of overlap there. So Kaz, one thing I would encourage you guys to go check out tvcanopy.net, and one piece that is going to for sure grow in the Wood River Valley is the Urban Wood Network piece. Like I said, this is new to the Canopy Network as of last year. And we've got video content. The idea with the Urban Wood Network video is that we tell you the process. So we have partners at the tree level who are neighborhood associations, cities that are helping us find the trees that if they do come down, how can we get them into this wood marketplace? Then we talk about the process and actually milling those trees so that they can get in a format for makers to then use them. So we've got some video content around that. And then the third key piece is how do you create that product in the end? And so I'm blanking out on his name, who is with the Forest Service in the Wood River Valley. He's really focused on, he's one of your foresters. Maybe
Nelson Mills. Nelson Mills.
Yes. So Nelson and I have already emailed back and forth on some things. And now that I have some funding at a national level to help them stand up a national network, some of that funding is going to flow into Idaho having a statewide urban wood network. So that will build somehow into what we're doing in the Wood River Valley. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that, learn about it, think about it. Other projects that we have going on, shade trees for energy savings, that might not be as applicable to you guys. City forest credits, we have a buyer that's interested in buying credits for this project that we have in Boise, Nampa, and Meridian. And so this might be a similar type of a project that could happen in the Wood River Valley. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that. Canopy Continuum is kind of a climate focus, urban tree canopy, air quality, water quality, or not water quality, air quality, human health, urban heat. We worked with City of Boise, and Tim and Zach created this really cool interactive story map. I'd encourage you to take a look at that. We did an urban heat assessment with some partners, which probably is not going to be as applicable out where you guys are at, but this is a really cool story map. And we do have funding to create these kind of resources as build outs from this project. Is that correct, Tim? Yes, Tim?
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Putting the thumbs up, yes.
So yeah, that's a good one to look at. To whet your appetite for that. What else do we have here?
Hey, Lance, can I just add in really quick as you're kind of talking about some of these resources and some of the work that y'all have done?
Yeah.
I think one thing that's exciting, and we hit on this just very briefly, was, you know, I think that there's a collective opportunity to really think about that wood product industry here, especially as it relates to, you know, what historically is just firewood. The Bald Mountain Stewardship Project in particular, so Baldy, thanks the ski mountain, is going to be generating a significant amount of dead or dying timber over the next 5 years, you know, more so than what we can even deal with. And so this last year we worked with Kurt Nelson, helped to make a introduction with the Shoshone Paiute tribe. We trucked a bunch of fuel wood down to the tribe, which then bucked it up and sent it around about 70 homes with to support elders' fuel needs, or I'm sorry, wood needs, home heating needs, you know, and that's a great project. But, you know, that was literally like 2 big truckloads of wood out of, you know, what do you want to call it, 30 truckloads that came off the mountain. And so we're, you know, we're going to be really, as I think, a group and as a community needing to figure that piece out. So I think that some of this work that Lance has done provides some opportunities to think about it maybe in a different way and get a bit creative. And I know there's a number of you that are already thinking about that, but any and all ideas are going to have to be welcome at the table for us to figure this piece out.
Yep. And I like, Danny, that you mentioned that, because there's 2 resources that I've already tapped into. One is there's a group, I think, out of California that uses this small timber to do actually structural work that I'm going to talk to. And then also I'm talking to a national organization that actually does kind of finance evaluations on how to build long-term financing opportunities. So those are all things that are going to flow into this project eventually. Ryan Santo asked, will the GIS data be available through a public repository? Yes, so all this data is publicly available. Tim is packaging it up and has already delivered it to the cities that we've done the work for. And so we'll do that also for Bellevue and Haley. And I know that the county already has a pretty awesome GIS tool, so we can talk with them about how that is put into their system. But basically we take it all and turn it over, and you guys can use it as much as you want and need to do work for years and years beyond this. So did I capture that right, Tim? Okay, so I'm going to stop my screen share. I'd encourage you to go in there. Thanks, Kaz. I hope I wasn't too ADHD skimming around those website too much, but I'd encourage you to go in there because there might be some ideas of what we built there that might build into this. We're not creating a website out of this project, but that's something that can be created in the future as we work together if there's an idea for something like that out of this group. So, Tim.
Towards the end of the project, it's not a project website, but we will be creating story maps similar to what Lance showed from the City of Boise heat map there to promote the work that all of you are doing through this project. So there will be some promotional and outreach materials that will be web-based, but not a website promoting the project.
Yeah, cool. All right, so we have 1 minute to go or less, and I promised you guys to be done on time. So I appreciate your time. I encourage you to reach out to me with any questions. Like I said, we're now going to finalize those agreements with the state, and then we are going to get those GIS assessments done, and we will be following up back with you in March to start focus and getting our hands dirty. So thank you all for the time. Reach out to me anytime you have questions. We'll probably get that March date on the calendar sooner than later, given everybody's busy schedules. But everybody stay happy and healthy, and we'll look forward to talking to you all again soon and really kicking off the project full bore. So thank you all very much. Take care.